What's going on, everyone? Badger here. Sure to like and sub, and let's get into this. The last video where we talked about Dave Filoni, Darth Filonius, and the Filoni Wall. And you've heard about the whole civil war between him and Gilroy and other creators. And is it true? Is it hearsay? I don't know. If it is, everyone's going with it because we continuously hear about it. And we're getting some pretty stark examples of it, as if you were wondering why things get announced and they never come through, or things get announced and they're all sort of the same. That was genuinely it. That it was Filoni was the one that was gatekeeping the hell out of Star Wars, and everyone has made your feelings quite clear. You very much like what Tony Gilroy did with Andor, and I'm seeing more people than I'm kind of comfortable with, but just saying that, not that I want Darth Filoni to be in charge, but that Tony Gilroy should be in charge of all Star Wars now, which I definitely think he should be actively involved in maybe some of the creative ends and writing and all that. But I still think we need someone who understands canon fully, more than Darth Filoni does. You can see here we had this video, which maybe I had didn't explain it well, because even though Tony Gilroy himself was saying we're hijacking canon and that he changed things in Rebels, there's a couple of different speeches she gives in Rebels, and in one of them they moved it in the timeline, and in another one they changed some words in it. The reason I'll leave up to you, but the point is that not much respect was paid to Filoni's Rebels, including them saying, do we have to pay attention to this? They changed the way Cassian Andor meets K2SO, originally in a comic for Disney. Now, I don't care. I think it's funny that Disney threw out actual Star Wars lore with the expanded universe, said, hey, we're going to make our own Disney lore and everything we do is going to be canon and sync up. And then they immediately contradict themselves when someone like Tony has enough clout to be like, I don't want to pay attention to that. That takes away the reason for us to want to read the supplemental material, thinking that it's legitimate. Either way, even people who said Star Wars is dead have watched Andor. Look, there's a lot there to like. There is. I understand when people say it's boring and it's slow paced and they don't care about the characters. It's taken me a while to care about even some of the characters. And to that end, Tony has decided to answer a couple of fan questions about things that were just left wondering about in Rogue One. So the first one is on the reveal at the end that Bix has had Cassian's baby. It's very controversial. Some people saying she should have told him. Other people say that was the point. If she told him, he would have given up being a rebel, and then the Death Star would have not, the whole thing is that she left because she knew he had things to do. So Tony says, does three things for me. I think it makes his sacrifice that much more bitter. And I think that for anybody who had any lingering doubts about Bix leaving an episode in 9, it explains it for anybody who was hesitant about buying into that scene. And finally, ultimately, I was desperate to end on a hopeful note. Rebellions are built on hope isn't just a t-shirt. It's a legit flame that a lot of people need to see. So hopefully I was ending on something that was upbeat, and it was important for me to do that. Okay, then you talked about Dedra, who ended up being her and Cyril, one of my favorite characters, new characters. She ends up being imprisoned in the same facility that Cassian was in the first season. Well, we knew she was going down. I mean, the whole ISB is coming to an end. If you think about it, if that was the CIA or any intelligence bureau with those kind of breaches and that kind of disaster happening simultaneously, it would be a cleaning of house. So she definitely is going down. And then to have her on Narkina 3 or Narkina 9 or wherever she's on, I mean, that was just too juicy to ignore. That's a character I wouldn't mind seeing again in a different fashion. On Kino Loy not returning, and the lingering mystery around Cassian's sister. So a lot of people were doing the memes of what the hell happened to Cassian's sister. That was the entire plot point in the first season, basically, was him trying to find her. Andy dropped the mic, man. What am I going to do that's going to be better than what we did? All it does is minimize that moment where Loy reveals I can't swim after breaking out of the island prison. I knew a lot of people were talking about whether we had a way of bringing him back, but I didn't want to have that sort of coincidental environment. And then Kino Loy is like Cassian's sister, who was trying to find in the series premiere. People wanted to know if we're going to resolve the sister, and the sister in the beginning is so much more interesting to me as a deficit. MacGuffin. She's much more valuable for me for Cassian as an absence. And he says in the end, maybe I should stop saving people. His need to return and save people and to be a savior, and that compulsion to do that comes from this hole in his life. And I really didn't want to fill that. Oof. And then, of course, they ask what happens to Mon Mothma's daughter after she fled Coruscant. He laughs and says, you've probably seen in your life at some point where a child becomes more orthodox, whatever the orthodoxy is, than the parents. The parents have broken free from the traditions of their parents, and then their children are like, no, I want to go back. I think she's living a very comfortable country club life on Chandrila. I don't know how happy she'll be, but that's where she is. Yes, because famously they had Mon Mothma marry her daughter off for political reasons, like it was a medieval show. And then lastly, and this is the one that I actually do think is important, on Andor Season 2's finale, what does that mean for Rogue One, a Star Wars story? Because him and Jyn Erso sort of have a budding, by the end, they embrace, and it's sort of alienating now if he should have been madly in love with Bix still. But even Tony says, I mean, for all the people that thought the Cassian Jyn Erso relationship was the be-all, end-all romance, like, my God, what does it do to that? Yeah, so I haven't rewatched it yet, but I probably will. So I don't think he even cared. Either way, Andor Season 2 is it's getting all the rave reviews. People retroactively acting like it's been amazing the whole time instead of just maybe 3 episodes, but that's all right. Either way, I very much would like to see the care and attention to detail and writing and production and all of that, because we certainly haven't gotten that from anything else. And yeah, you let me know. Have you changed your mind about Andor? Did you always love it? Did you watch it? No, this is pretty good. And would you like Tony Gilroy to possibly be in charge of Star Wars? Because holy hell, the amount of people saying it right now is kind of staggering. Let me know what you think. Either way, make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you. And,
well, bye.